Ladies and gentlemen, I will call to order this online hearing of November 23rd, 2020 in the matter of SLR 2020-00007 Cook Park Ballfield improvements. My name is Joe Turner. I'm the city's hearings officer. Sorry, wrong jurisdiction. This online hearing is reasonable and necessary at this time to comply with the state's social distancing order, maintain public health and safety, and meet state-imposed deadlines for decisions on land use applications. I will start with some brief announcements and a summary of the process that will follow so you understand how you can participate in the hearing. I start by saying I'm not a city employee. I am licensed as an attorney and trained as a planner. I serve under contract to the Board of City Council. My role as the hearings officer is to conduct public hearings and make decisions about certain land use matters in the city of Tigard. In making those decisions, I am required to apply the city's existing laws. I'm not a policymaker. I don't have the authority to vary from or change the laws. If you think that the laws need to be changed, you can work with Planning Commission and City Council to do that. But state law requires that this application be judged based on the laws in effect when the application was filed. As a hearings officer, I'm to provide an unbiased decision maker. I believe I am unbiased with regard to the application before me tonight. I have not had any pre-hearing contact with any of the parties regarding the substance of the application, and I don't have any interest in the subject property or any of the surrounding properties. But you have the right to challenge my impartiality, to argue that I'm biased in one way or another, and you can do that when it's your opportunity to testify. Procedure will follow. I'll start by asking staff to summarize their staff report, copies of which are available on the city's website. Then the applicant will have an opportunity to testify, summarize their proposal, and respond to the staff report. Then I will open up for public testimony. I will take testimony in the order that they appear on my screen. You can testify in support of this application, in opposition, or with questions or concerns. Once everyone has had an initial opportunity to testify, I will give staff and the applicant an opportunity to respond to the testimony that was offered. If that response includes any new evidence, I will give everyone a chance to respond to the new evidence. Otherwise, I'll close the public portion of the hearing and announce what I'm going to do. Anyone with an interest in this application may offer relevant oral or written testimony, but testimony should be relevant to the applicable approval criteria which are set out in the staff report. Also, it's important that you make your best case to me. Although my decisions are subject to appeal to the City Council, the City Council will decide any appeal based on the record before me. So if you feel it's important that myself or any future decision maker knows something about this application, you need to make sure it gets into the record before me. In order to preserve your right to appeal, you or someone expressly representing you must testify orally or in writing before the close of the record. And in order to raise an issue on appeal, someone must have raised that issue before me. If the applicant wants to object to any conditions of approval on constitutional grounds, they must raise those issues before me as well. If you feel you have time to prepare, you can ask me to hold the record open or continue the hearing. If I hold the record open, you'll have an opportunity to additional written testimony and evidence before I make a decision. If I continue the hearing, we can come back again and do this again at a later date. But whether or not the hearing is continued or the record is held open for any other purpose, state law requires that I hold the record open for an additional week for the applicant to submit a final written argument without any new evidence. The applicant can waive that right if they choose, but if anyone else wants me to hold the record open or continue the hearing for any other purpose, you must make that request before the close of the hearing tonight. In addition, the city's final decision, including any appeal to City Council, state law requires that the city issue that decision within 120 days after the application was complete. So there's some limit to how long I can continue the hearing or hold the record open. When you testify, please state your name and your full mailing address. Please spell your last name so I get it right. And if you represent someone else, please say so. And As I said, your testimony should be relevant to the applicable approval criteria set out in the staff report. And please don't repeat testimony offered by yourself or earlier witnesses. I take good notes and I can review the recording of the hearing if necessary. But unless there's any questions, that concludes my introduction. Given the format of this online hearing, I think any questions will have to wait until we come to public testimony and go through them individually. So with that, Ms. Pollard, would you summarize the staff report?
Yes, thank you. And Tom is going to be helping me with the slides today. So Tom, could you please bring up the slides for the presentation? Thank you. Good evening. My name is Hope Pollard. I'm an associate planner and I'm presenting on behalf of Agnes Lindor this evening. The item before you tonight is the sensitive lands review for Cook Park Ballfield improvements. Next slide, please. The project is located at Cook Park as indicated in the black polygon here, and the specific project area is at the south terminus of Southwest 92nd Avenue as shown in the red circle. The park and surrounding properties are all within the PR Parks and Recreation Zone. Next slide, please. This project requires a sensitive lands review type 3 because it requires work within the FEMA floodway. Next slide, please. The project proposes replacement of natural grass infields with synthetic turf and drainage rock, replacement of existing bullpen and backstop fencing and netting, and installation of drainage pipe to collect and convey runoff to an existing drainage system. Next slide, please. So this is a site plan of the proposed project. As shown here, the project involves a maintenance and replacement of existing facilities at the ball fields. Additional comments have been received since the publication of the staff report, and they have been shared with the hearings officer and they have been responded to as well. So these comments include from TVFNR, no objections. From a Miss Lewis, she shared concerns regarding traffic and speeding around the area. These were forwarded to Mr. Peck to respond to. The project is not anticipated to add any additional traffic as it's just maintaining and replacing existing facilities. We also provided Ms. Lewis with information on how to submit her concerns for further evaluation for traffic. We also received comments from a Ms. McRae of the project. And I'm so sorry, one second. And we also received comments, a comment from Mr. Hugh sharing concerns regarding where construction vehicles will park. His concern was that as some of the parking lots for Cook Park are typically fenced off during the winter, that this would leave no place for the public to park alongside construction vehicles. We clarified that the construction vehicles will be allowed to park in those parking areas that are usually fenced off in the winter. So this will not provide any impact on public parking. Next slide, please. So the proposal provides detailed information on how all applicable criteria and standards are met or will be met through conditions of approval. The proposal will increase the flood storage function by removing 146 net cubic yards of fill, and the proposal will not result in any increase in flood level during the base flood discharge. Next slide, please. So with that, staff has reviewed the proposed plans and recommends approval of the sensitive lands review subject to the conditions of approval in the staff report. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant here represented? I think you need to unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. My name is, can you hear me?
Yep. I can.
My name is, my name is Jeff Peck. I'm a project manager at the City of Tigard. I'm the acting applicant tonight for the city. With me also is Martin McKnight, who is the parks supervisor. That may clarify anything that needs to be clarified if I get it wrong. So I appreciate the staff report, and I don't want to repeat a lot of it, but I would like to, I guess, it's okay if I get going, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you. As stated, the projects, Tom, can you please put up the slides? And can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, thank you. As you'll notice on this slide, we've highlighted ball fields 1 and 2 down at the south terminus of Southwest 92nd Avenue. And that's where the improvements are going to take place. Basically, the maintenance improvement include removing the natural grass fields and replacing the infields with artificial turf, backstop fencing, netting, and bullpen fencing will also be replaced. And as also previously stated, the design of this ball field, the infields were shaped to remove material from both ball fields, about 146 cubic yards, net cut, and the gravel subsurface as well will store and allow water to infiltrate into the ground, adding additional capacity to the floodway. The under drainage system or piping has been designed to collect stormwater that does not get absorbed into the ground, and it will send it through the existing system into the parking lot. And ultimately, less stormwater will leave the site under the proposed design. Basically, identifying the improvements as an increased storage capacity in the floodway and a reduced amount of runoff leaving the two ball fields. So the improvements will be better than the way it exists right now and will provide better storage capacity. The project, we had an open house, a virtual open house that ran for about 2 weeks, and we received a fair amount of public input. I just wanted to go over a couple of the comments that we received. One, here's a quote: "It sounds like a good idea to have turf fields available for our younger kids. High school fields have it, since it can rain so much in the spring. I would have thought that would give kids more opportunity to play." Another one was, "My kids have played on the Cook Park fields for many years, and these improvements will only make the experience better." And another one that came up that was addressed during our questioning and answering period during the virtual neighborhood meeting was there was a concern that the fields were only going to be improved for Little League Baseball. And I just wanted to clarify, we clarified this on the website, but I want the record to understand that these fields will be reconstructed to allow for softball and baseball. So they'll be interchangeable for softball and baseball play. And the other questions have been answered. And I just wanted to say that we're asking you to approve SLR 2020-00007, and we are in support of the staff report and conditions of approval as they stand. Thank you.
Thank you. The only question I had, just to clarify, you said it will reduce the runoff volume over what's current happened. Is that because you'll have rock storage underneath the artificial turf, so the water will be sitting there longer, allowed to infiltrate better? Is that why it's reduced?
That's correct. It won't just be doing an overland flow runoff immediately. So it will
right
be
now it just flows off of the grass.
Some
Okay.
infiltrates, but then it's also a clay rock layer kind of under there right now with the gravel.
Okay.
So the large stone will allow it to infiltrate and be absorbed.
Okay, that makes sense. So that's it from the applicant. So we'll go ahead and go to public testimony. And Mr. Keelan, if you can, whoever's first in the queue.
Certainly, we have one caller, and I'm passing her through now.
Okay. Good evening.
Hi, this is Michelle Cooper. My full address is 12968 Southwest Costal, K as in King, OSTEL Lane, Tigard, Oregon 97224.
Okay.
And I am representing not only myself and my children and my family, but I'm also the Little League president for the 2021 year.
Is that Tigard Little League?
So it is Tigard Little League, yes.
Thank you.
Which includes both baseball and softball.
Oh, great.
So Tigard Little League, I'm not going to repeat a lot of what's already been said. We are in full support of this measure. We firmly believe that it will allow greater use of those fields by all participants in the city of Tigard. It will make the fields playable far more of the year, so that not only Little League, but all of the other families and other participants that come out regularly can participate on the field.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else who wants to testify about this application? Is there anybody else in the queue, I guess?
Nope, there is no one else in the queue.
Okay. Ms. Pollard, anything further from the city?
Nothing further.
And Mr. Peck, anything further from the applicant?
We have nothing further. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Peck, as the applicant, you have the right to have me hold the record open for an additional week to submit a final written argument. Do you want to waive that?
We will waive that right. Thank you.
Okay. With that, I'll close the public portion of the hearing. Based on the findings in the staff report, this application does or will comply with the applicable approval criteria subject to conditions in the staff report. So I will approve it subject to those conditions. I will issue a written decision to that effect within about 2 weeks. I'll send that decision to the city of Tigard. The city will send it to parties of record. So anyone who's testified orally or in writing before the close of, before today, will receive a copy of my decision. But that concludes our hearing for today. Before I go away completely, let me apologize for missing the hearing last week. I'm glad we were able to reschedule right away, but thank you all for your attendance, and that concludes our hearing. Have a good evening and have a good holiday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.